What's up, no thank youers? Today, we're going to be going outside. I intend to visit at least one or two anime stores in London. As I mentioned in my previous video, I had this idea. Now I haven't really thought this through. I mean, I know where I'm going. I have a list. I don't know how many I'll get to today. I'm not going to show you the journey because that would dox myself. But I'm not sure how I'm gonna film any of this or anything. I probably won't vlog in public. I don't think I have the kind of confidence required to do that. And I think even if I wanted to, the microphone on this phone really fucking sucks. You can probably tell. So even if I upload a... Okay, well, that's a tangent. Let's get back on subject here. So I'm going to go to a shop called Animetal. They actually have two locations. I'm going to the bigger one because I feel like that has a higher likelihood of being better. However, there is also the option that it's bigger and more central, so they don't have any of the good shit, you know? Like the more out there stuff might be in their second store. So I don't really know. However, I have read the reviews online for this store, and they also a lot of people say that they have a good selection, but everything is overpriced and marked up. Do I actually intend to buy anything? If I see a really good deal on something I'm interested in, yeah, I'll buy it. But I'm not going in there thinking, right, I'm gonna go there and buy something right now. My plan is to go there and just take a look because I have a theory that I want to test. And that theory is that it's really hard to find anime goods for anything other than the most popular shows in London in person. And I currently am very skeptical of all of these anime shops. I've been to a couple in the past, but due to some Googling it has come to my attention that there are actually a bunch of new anime shops which have popped up, which isn't surprising given anime's surge in popularity. And in the past, whenever I've been to anime shops or anime goods shops or manga shops, they've only had the most popular stuff. And when I see footage of cons, they only have the most popular stuff. And I'm not that interested in the most popular stuff. On the one hand, I'm not that into shonen, so like, I don't really want to buy anything related to it. And on the other hand, if I did, it would be very easy to find at presumably discounted prices. And there's no reason for me to go to a store in person. You might say to yourself, why even bother doing this in the first place when you can buy anime goods online? Well, you can, and I do. But I think there's something nice about going to an actual physical store and purchasing something from time to time. But really, I just want to test the theory. I just want to find out if I'm correct. Because I'll be happy to discover that I am wrong, and that they actually do have goods from more series that I actually might be more interested in. So my plan currently is to go there and I will record some footage and then talk over it in voiceover while I'm editing. That's my current plan because I'm going there with the intent to shit talk. Right? I'm going there with the intent to say, hi, you only have Jujutsu Kaisen stuff, you know? So I don't think I should do that in public out loud. I think I should do that in a voiceover. However, so what I'm considering is that there's a decent likelihood that they won't let me record in the stores. I have a elaborate lie in my head to see if I can get around this. What I plan to do is if they come up to me and try and stop me from recording, I plan to say the following line. Is it okay if I just take a few pictures? I'm thinking of coming back here when I get paid at the end of the month, and I want to know what my choices are. That way they think I'm actually going to buy something, and they might not want to dissuade a potential customer. I feel like it's a good lie. I'll try and pull that one off. I don't know how it's going to go. We'll see. If I get out there and I'm feeling hyper, maybe we'll harass the store employees. I don't know. That's a joke. That's a joke. We're not going to be harassing any employees. But yeah, I mean, there's not much else to say. I'm gonna head over to Animetal and see what the fuck's going on there. Get ready to look at a bunch of Goku figurines. Yeah, don't we like? Doesn't everyone love Goku? Yo, so I have just gone back from my trip, and it turns out I was way too nervous to record in public very much, so I did not get enough footage to use as like background for a voiceover. So instead, I'm just going to tell you what happened with here and insert footage as necessary. And listen, you're going to want to hear this because there are twists and there are turns in this story of what happened today. But first, I got to show you the new anime posters I got online prior to this whole event. And that is, let me turn the brightness up a little bit. Okay, I got this. This is Tamayura. I got this. This is Da Capo. I got this, Oreimo. I got that one way up there. This is Vivid Red Operation. I got this, which is Lucky Star. And that's it, I think. Yes, those are the new posters I got online. For way too much money. So, I have a haul. I'm going to show you the stuff I bought. I did buy stuff. But first, I'm going to tell you the story. So, I get on the train, or I go to get on the train, and it almost immediately it starts raining, and it rains all day. So it's raining the whole time, and I'm like, right, great, that's great. But I go to Animetal, okay? I go to Tottenham Court Road Station, then I go to Animetal, right? And footage is here of what the outside of the building looks like, and I'm seeing the outside of the building, and I'm thinking, okay, great. You got Studio Ghibli stuff. You got like, what was it, like Luffy or something there. I was like, okay, well this is probably going to be exactly what I expected. But I walk in the door, and firstly, it's pretty big, and the first thing I see are a wall of Miku figures, and I'm like, okay, I mean Miku's pretty popular. Like that's not very surprising, I guess. But then I keep walking, and I'm seeing some JoJo stuff and whatever, and then it's like a building of hype because I start to see, I'm like, Data Life, okay, that's kind of Bishojo stuff. And then I'm like, okay, is that Shiro from No Game No Life? Okay, that's a good character. And then I see Oreimo stuff. I see Kirino and Kuroneko figures and a whole bunch of them, different kinds. And I'm like, hold on a minute now, we might be onto something. I keep going. I see Kaon. I see all of this stuff I see, and I'm like, oh, wait a fucking minute. This store might actually be good. And so I wander around, and, well, I mean, there's all sorts of stuff. You can probably see it in the footage. There's lots of different things, but at first I'm wandering around, and I'm just trying to see, like, what's calling out to me. Anything, like, shows, not just shows that I like, but shows that I particularly like. And in the end, I narrow it down. I'm like, which character would I most like to own a figure of? And, they don't have like Hidamari Sketch or Tamayura or Horizon in the Middle of Nowhere or some of my favorite shows like that, which is, I guess, to be expected because those shows are fairly obscure. But they had a Strike Witches. I like Strike Witches. They had a bunch of good stuff. Like they like pretty much a lot of they had a lot of shows that I genuinely like, and even actually the thing that really convinced me and pushed it over the edge that I was like, oh, this shop is like legit is I saw they had Little Busters figures from the visual novel, and they had like art from the visual novel. It's like, okay, so like they've even got a little tiny bit of very popular visual novel stuff here. And then I go keep walking around the store, and it's most of the store is just figures, but there's one little shelf or like section that is like, I don't really know what they're called. They're like the collectible card packs where you get a sort of random gacha pull of a collectible card. I actually have a Homu from one of those up there. But and I was looking through those, And I thought that's not really why I'm here, so I'm probably not going to buy any of these. But I saw some, they had a Leaf one, the visual novel studio, and then they had a separate Two Heart one. Like, Two Heart isn't even translated into English, and they have a collectible card pack of Two Heart people. I haven't even read Two Heart because it's not in English, you know. Like, and it's also old as shit. Like, I feel like most people don't even know what Two Heart is, right? Like, unless you so I thought that was pretty fucking cool, and they were old. Like, you could tell the boxes that they kind of like yellowed a little bit. Like, these must be original things. And like, I saw the Leaf thing. They had like a Shizuku was one of the options. Like, one of the, I've never read Shizuku. I also think that's not translated, but I know the main character looks like. Um. Anyway, that was kind of sick. So in the end, I was looking around at these posters, and the guy comes up to me, one of the workers, and this guy looks pretty much like me. He's also balding. He's also tall as fuck. He's also got the beard, and he's also kind of chubby, and looks like generic autistic guy the same way I kind of look like generic autistic guy. He looks like me, but a bit older, basically. Like, he looks like me in 5 years, and he comes up to me and is like, you good? You need anything? You're just looking around?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just looking around." And then I say, "Is it okay if I record?" Which is then when I recorded everything. I didn't use my elaborate lie. I don't know what I was thinking with that lie thing. I don't know. Strange thought processes. My many strange thought processes. But he was like, "Yeah, sure, go ahead. Record videos, take pictures." And he made a joke. He said like, "But if you want to take a picture of me, that's going to cost you extra." I thought that was good. This guy clearly very experienced with dealing with socially awkward anime fans like me. I forgot to mention. So on the train over there, it was a fucking miserable journey because I get on the train and first, like, I go one stop and then an entire fucking school of children to climb on right where I am, and they're so loud and there's so many of them, and I don't know if you could tell, but I have autism, and a lot of noises, and especially like high pitched child voices, that is a big sensory overload thing for me. And so I got up and like moved, and the teacher presumably said like, "Oh, thank you," right? But it was not because I wanted to make room for them. It was because I was fucking freaking out. Like, too many loud child talking voices freaking me out. Too much sensory overload. So I moved carriages, and then where do I go sit down? And then there's a fucking baby who starts screaming, and that also starts freaking me out because that's another thing. Babies screaming, very sensory overload. So the whole journey there, I'm like in fucking sensory overload autism hell. And so when I get there, I'm like pretty shaken, and I go into the shop, I'm really nervous. Um, so like when I was talking to the guy, like I guess he could probably tell that I was pretty nervous, or maybe not, I don't know, but I felt very nervous. Um, so I did take some footage, and then in the end, I was sort of breaking it down. I was thinking, well, of all of the characters that are here, I didn't even really think like what I would buy before I came here. Um, but I spotted in the back, buried under some other stuff, I spotted one that called out to me. I saw, I saw out of the corner of my eye, Chino. I saw Chino, which I decided to purchase for £49. Now, a reasonable person would have looked it up on their phone to see if £49 was a good price for this particular figure. I did not do that. I thought 50 quid's about right for a figure. I've looked online for figures. They're normally about that expensive. In fact, they're often more expensive. Um, that's not too bad. Fuck it. That's pretty much where my mind was at. I also want to say they had reviews that said they were over, like everything in the shop was overpriced. It didn't seem that way to me. And not only that, but they had a really big sale section. Like, they had a whole island in the middle that was all stuff that was on sale, and it seemed pretty cheap, like comparatively. And they even had some good stuff in the sale section. Like, it wasn't just low quality garbage or, you know, Jujutsu Kaisen, which is my go to example of mainstream normie show apparently. Like, no, they actually had some pretty good, like, decent stuff. They had like some quintessential quintuplet stuff for sale. and whatever. I don't really like that show that much, but I know a lot of people do. And but in the end, I went and bought this Chino figure, which I will now unbox on camera. But first, I will tell you what happened. One more brief little story. So I go up to the I go up to the desk to buy it, counter to buy it, and the same guy is at the counter, and I say like, I've made my decision because he probably I assumed my mind I was thinking he's seen me wandering around the shop. I was standing there for ages. Like it would took me a really long time to make a decision. At least in my head, it felt like I was wandering around for ages because it was so much choice. Like they had Nanoha figures and they had multiple different Nanoha. Like it's not just that like oh yeah, they have a K-On! Figure. Like I love K-On! K-On's one of my favorite fucking shows. I love K-On! And it's like it's not just like they have a Yui. Like they have every single K-On! Character in like multiple different types. Like they actually had a lot of variety, but this was the only Chino they had, or the only Gochiusa related thing they had. Um, and I don't know. I mean, it just spoke to me. I heard her calling out my name. Um, but you know, I've been because of they had so much choice. I was kind of in analysis paralysis situation, and it felt in my mind at least that I'd been wandering around the store for way too long, and so yeah, I just made the decision to buy this and said fuck it. Um, I'm willing to make a sacrifice for my daughter wife Chino. And so I went up to the counter and I said I've made my choice, and he looked at me and gave me a knowing nod and said, "Good choice." And I was like, "This guy watches anime. This guy actually knows anime." And so I said to him, at this point, the adrenaline of spending 50 quid on a piece of plastic is kind of coursing through my veins, and I'm like a little bit okay with social interaction. And so I say to him, I don't remember exactly what I said, but I said something like, I was surprised that your guys actually have good stuff. Like, I was expecting it to just be like Jujutsu Kaisen and Dragon Ball. And he said, like, blah, 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 yeah, the owner tries to, like, get a variety of stuff and whatever. Like, if you really like this, like, blah, blah, blah. And then I don't even remember why he brought this up. But he said, like, something like, people don't even know Haruhi anymore. Like, back in the day, and I was like, yeah, it's crazy that no one knows Haruhi. Like, new anime fans don't watch Haruhi. And he says, yeah, like, back in the day, if you said I'm an anime fan, that was the same thing as saying you know all the words to or you know all the moves to the Hara Hara Yukai. And I was like, yeah, that's crazy that no one watches Haruhi anymore. It is crazy to me. Like, he's right. That is crazy. And then, anyway, I bought the Chino figure, and then I went away. I started walking back towards the train station. But then I had the thought. So this is the beginning. This is the success. This is the great success. I will now unbox Chino. I've already opened up the tape that was holding it closed. Let me put you down on a tripod real quick. Okay. Oh, is this gonna work? It's a little. There you go. Okay. Wow. Chino. Cappuccino. Scissors. They should be here. This is my first anime figure. I've never bought one before. It's pretty good quality. It feels like pretty good. Of course, the first thing I do is look up her skirt. Whoops. Chino is innocent. She doesn't deserve that. She doesn't deserve my lechery. And here's the stand. This way around. There you go. Chino. I'm gonna put that on my shelf. Hell yeah. That makes me feel very good to look at. I like that. That was worth the money. Every day of my life, that was worth the money. That's very cute. That's adorable. Oh, fuck yeah. I'm very happy right now. I need to spend more money on anime goods. Listen, people, I've done a lot of drugs. I've done plenty of drugs in my life. This is better than drugs. This is real drugs. Anyway, so I start walking back to the station thinking, well, I wasn't expecting to buy anything, full stop. And I've already bought this thing. I don't really want to spend any more money. I'm definitely not going to buy another figure today because, you know, that's enough. If I wanted to buy more figures, I'm not going to find a better selection than that store. So I may as well just go home. So I start walking back to the station, and then I think to myself, I remember, wait a minute, I'm right around the corner from Forbidden Planet. Now, Forbidden Planet is a comic book store. At least it used to be a comic book store. When I was a kid, it was a comic book store. And over the years, I've gone there and watched it slowly transform from a comic book store to a generic pop culture goods store. And then it has been very obviously, like, you go in there and it really looks like a comic book store that has been consumed by anime. um, like, slowly, the comic book stuff has been shoved into smaller and smaller sections, and everything anime related has just overtaken it. Um, Now, I've been to Forbidden Planet a bunch of times. I bought like Volume 1 of Preacher there a long time ago and read the rest online. Or, I mean, legitimately, of course. And, they have a pretty big manga section, but Forbidden Planet is basically what I was worried that Animetal was going to be, which is that it is just the 5 most popular shows. I don't know what it is with these people. They really like 5 shows and nothing else. Forbidden Planet also had an entire wall of Funko Pops, and it looked like that one guy's house in Cruelty Squad. Just an entire wall of Funko Pops. But at this point, I start thinking, you know what? It would be a good idea to start looking for posters. I'll go to these other anime shops in London and I'll look for posters because I'm not going to buy another figure, but maybe I can find a good poster. So I start walking around Forbidden Planet. I go to the basement and look in the manga section. And manga sections, like manga shops here, it's really annoying because they've branched out. It used to be you could only find popular shonen. And now all of them have a small light novel section and like a bunch of isekai stuff. And then, even more recently, they've started to have like shoujo and BL even like stuff, right? Like you can find legitimate 18 plus BL in this shop. I saw some, right? And they have like, so they're going that far. So you have your popular, mainstream shonen series, you have your artsy stuff like Ayasumi Pun Pun and whatever. Um, and then you have your shoujo stuff, you have your yaoi stuff, and you have your slop whatever the fuck manga, but they still never ever have anything slice of lifey. I know all the slice of life manga, like I know all of them. I've looked it up. I know every single manga that ever been printed in Manga Time Kirara or Kyun. I know all of them. Like Shimeji Simulation is fucking huge, okay? Shimeji Simulation is massively popular on the internet. Why have I never seen it in a shop? Ever. I've never seen Girls Lost Tour. I've never seen Shimeji Simulation. Like, why the fuck not? It's not even, like, weird. It's not even, like, weird moe stuff. It's, like, artsy stuff. Where the fuck is it, people? Where the fuck is Shimeji Simulation? It's probably just not localized. Because none of the good stuff gets localized. And, buying manga physically in the West is just a total scam. In Japan, it's worth it because manga magazines are fucking cheap. They're cheap, they're everywhere. And in fact, if you go to a manga cafe, they're free. You go in, you pay a thing to stay for some time, and you get as much manga as you like for that period of time. And that period of time can be any time because they're 24 hours. They're open 24 hours. They're the best. It's the best deal in the world. In Japan, it actually makes sense to purchase manga because the magazines are cheap, and there are these things called manga cafes that are cheap. You don't have that here, so there's no point in buying tonkobans in English. It's a fucking waste of money. I don't have anywhere to put them anyway. I don't even read that much manga, but yeah, no, it is a massive waste of money to buy physical manga in the West. That is my current opinion. Subject to change, of course. Don't worry, there are more interesting things are going to happen in this story. And I'm going to start off with the next interesting thing, which is I find some posters. And the way the posters work is there's like a, how do I put this? There's a bunch of like folding sort of poster frames that you can sort of leaf through, and each of them is marked with a little number. And then beneath it, there's a shelf of like curled up posters which have the numbers on them. So you look for the number you want of the poster, and then you find that in the rolled up poster, and then you buy that, right? Um, and so I'm looking through, and it's all Dragon Ball, One Piece, Dragon Ball, One Piece, Jujutsu Kaisen, Demon Slayer, JoJo's, Pokemon, Skyrim, Dragon Ball, you know, like it's like what the fuck, Harry Potter, like what is he doing here, you know? Um, and then I find one good poster. I find a Cardcaptor Sakura poster, and I'm like, you know what? Fuck it, I'll buy a Cardcaptor Sakura poster. That poster looks pretty good. So I go to look for it. It's sold out. What the fuck? It's they don't have it. I didn't know Sakura was that popular. Why is it that they have every single One Piece and Dragon Ball thing but no Cardcaptor Sakura stuff? Presumably, I guess it's just that like it's the only thing that women would like in the entire store and they just buy it. I mean they have a bunch of shoujo stuff in the basement. Um but I guess shoujo's a little more niche than like magical girl stuff. Maybe Cardcaptor Sakura is popular because it's like an aesthetic. But anyway, remember this. Remember that this event. It's gonna come back later. Um, so then I go to the. There's another similar thing of posters, right, where you leaf through them. And I start from one side, and then I start leafing through. And as I start leafing through, this girl comes up and starts leafing through from the other side. And I realize we're about to like meet in the middle, and it's going to be really awkward because I don't know what to do at that point. So I'm just like, I'm gonna get out of here. So I just dip. I didn't want no fucking this like spaghetti eating weird scene. Like I start leafing through from one side, she starts leafing through from the other side, and I'm like, I'm not doing this, and I just leave. The other thing about Forbidden Planet and how you can tell it's like normie centric is that in Animetal, I went in, it was me, one store clerk in the back, the guy who actually talked to me, and then like these older ladies who were I could hear their conversation. They were clearly buying something ReZero related for her son, I presume. Um, uh, and um, and then me, and that was it. Uh, at Forbidden Planet, it was way more busy. There were loads of people, and they were a lot more like attractive. You know what I mean? They were like stylish. They were dressed in modern fashion and had like their hair done and contemporary. You know what the fuck I'm saying. So that's how you can tell. Anyway, I get out of Forbidden Planet without buying anything because there's nothing worth buying, and I get on the train to Camden. And once I get to Camden, I realize, hold on a minute, this is actually relevant because they go here in the K-On! Movie. And you will now see, hopefully, some shots of Camden. And if I can manage to find them, I'll try and line them up with some shots from the K-On! Movie. Yeah, it's changed a lot since, when was the K-On! Movie? K-On! Was 2009, so when was the movie? 2000, what? I don't remember. But anyway, I go there. It's changed a lot. Camden's a weird fucking place. I've been to Camden way too much in my life. It is at this point it is purely a tourist trap. At one point it was like a hub of sort of punk subculture in London, back in like my parents' days. These days it's entirely a giant tourist trap. But it is ostensibly a market, and it used to even have a real market, but they've knocked the market down and replaced it with like a bunch of shops um, that are like rip-offs. But there is also another part of the market which used to be a long time ago a stables where they kept horses, and then got turned into a market, and then that market got turned into like a tourist trap type market, and that's where the anime shop is. So I'm heading over there, and I'm thinking this at this point, like, I walk into that, I walk there, and as I walk there, I pass this guy on the bridge. Now, this is actually very important, so I want you to pay attention here. If you ever come to London and you ever go to Camden, you are likely to see a punk on the bridge. Okay, there's a guy in Camden. He looks like he's got a mohawk, he's got tattoos and piercings, and dressed in the full punk gear, and he hangs out on the bridge, sometimes with a friend, and he has a little sign that says photos £1 or £2 or something, right? Never ever give him money, okay? Because everyone from London, we know that guy. That guy is a child rapist. I'm not joking. You can look this up. That guy raped a kid. Do avoid him. Do not take a picture with him. Do not give him money. That guy fucking sucks. So yeah, I walk past him. I go to the stables market and I'm walking around. And it's all tourist shit, and I just start thinking how fucking. And I see like one store, and they're selling like knockoff anime T-shirts. Nothing good, like nothing even notable. It's like complete Giga Normie Studio Ghibli, whatever the fuck stuff. And I'm thinking to myself how annoying it is that this thing I love and have a deep connection to is like being reduced to tourist slop. Like it's that is pretty annoying to me. But I keep trudging through, and this place is a bit of a maze. Okay, it goes on forever. There's a million stalls selling a million different things, and I'm trying to find this anime store. Wandering through the back because I didn't have clear directions, and I find an anime store, but it's not the one that I was looking for. But I do find one, and I find it, and it's packed. It's completely full of people. It's really small. It's like really thin, really narrow, and so it's full of people, and I literally won't fit if I go in. So I just sort of keep circling the block until they leave. I just keep wandering around a little bit and coming back until they left. And they left, and I went in, expecting it to be garbage, because I know that there's an anime shop that I've been to in here before a long time ago, and it was really bad. So I'm assuming that this is going to be really bad. It's going to be all tourist trap stuff. And for the most part, it is. I look around, I see, they have some figures, they have some T-shirts, but it's the best thing I could see was like that time I got reincarnated as a slime figure. That show's pretty good, but pretty much everything else was just shown in slop. But I go in the back, like I keep going further into the store because I seen a basket of posters, and it says posters £10, and I'm like, that seems a little expensive for a poster, but fuck it, I'll have a look at least. But then I see, actually no. It does not post as £10. It's each thing is like a plastic binder that has like 5 posters inside of it, and each one of those is £10. I'm like, 5 posters for £10 is actually pretty good. So I start flipping through, and it's mostly garbage. And also, so I start flipping through, and I'm starting to realize, like, wait a minute, these posters don't seem very official. And then I see a Madoka poster that still has the text that you find on a Megami magazine poster. And I know that text because you will find it on like half of these, because half of these are also scans of posters from Megami magazine. The text looks like this, by the way. You can see it like here. Like they use the same font. Oh, you can't really see that. Hold on. Like they use the same. They all use the same font, and they have the same sort of style. Like this one's from a Megami magazine. This one's from a Megami magazine. This one's from a Megami magazine. Like they all have this like text on them, and I see it on this Madoka poster, and I'm like, well, that's definitely not on a magazine paper. So this is definitely a knockoff. And so I keep going. I'm thinking maybe I'll get a Madoka thing. They have like a Miku thing. I'm not that into Miku, but maybe. But I keep going. And right at the back of the basket, right towards the back, I see it. I'm like, no fucking way. No fucking way this is real. I was thinking to myself at one point, like, it would be really funny if someone had this thing and they had it. And I'm going to show it to you now because I bought it. And I don't know, I don't know what I did to buy this. I don't know why I thought this was a good idea, but I thought, you know what, this is so funny that I'm willing to spend £10 on this. Let me get this organized. I have a lot of these posters. I saw a binder. Let me turn the brightness down so you can see it. Of Sagittys. So now I have not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, but 7 Edo Manga Sensei posters. I have 7 Edo Manga Sensei posters. Why? I don't know. But what am I supposed to do with all these Edo Manga Sensei posters? I don't fucking know. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with all the Edo Manga Sensei posters, but I thought this is so funny that I can't pass up the opportunity. Now listen, I have a rule. I see a lot of otaku rooms, itabeya as they're known in Japanese, um, where people just put up random Megami posters, random shit that they find, and they go around, they do their little room tour, and they're like, "That's so and so." Yeah, I don't really like that show that much, or like that. I haven't even seen that. People do this sort of thing. I hate that. I'm very much against that. I only have posters for things that I've seen or read and that have some meaning to me. It doesn't necessarily mean I think they're the best thing ever, but it means they have some meaning, deeper meaning to me. So, for example, like Nanoha, it's not my favorite show ever. It's not my favorite franchise ever. But I feel like it represents the true core of otaku from that era, which is why I have it up there. Same with Strike Witches. I don't think I like Strike Witches, but I think it's very inconsistent. And I don't think it's that great. However, firstly, I think it's a great representation of the mecha musume genre, and it's like niche within anime. And secondly, I have very fond memories of watching the show because I marathon the show like every season back to back to back, and that was a fun time. Even though I didn't think Strike Witch was that great, so like I have some stuff like that. And Edo Manga Sensei actually does have a similar story for me because I remember watching Edo Manga Sensei. It was a bit of a meme when it came out, right? And I remember watching it in class. I watched it in the back of my uh, class at college, like sixth form college, like on my ThinkPad. So that's why I have fond memories of Edo Manga Sensei because that's a like I remember watching episodes. I would watch them on lunch break, and I would watch them in the back of class at college, and I wouldn't talk to anyone. And people thought I was going to be a school shooter. Someone said to me like, whatever. This is a story for another time. But that's a funny memory to me. That's a fond memory for me. And so I do have that connection to Edo Manga Sensei, and I do like the show. Like unironically, I've seen it twice. I actually quite like the show. I don't think it's as good as Oraimo, same author. I don't think it's as good as Oraimo, but I do like it. I do think it's a pretty good show. So there you go. I have a shitload of fucking Edo Manga Sensei posters now that I have no fucking idea what to do with, which is extremely funny situation to be in. Um, okay, so I get out of that store baffled and confused at the fact that I've just made this purchase, and I keep wandering around trying to find the big anime store. By the way, that store, because it was so small, it was too awkward. Like I really didn't, and I also went in there expecting it all to be trash, and it was all trash. It's pure luck that I found these cheap knockoff Edo Manga Sensei posters, some of which aren't even official art, by the way. In fact, a lot of them aren't even official art. I don't know if you could tell, but yeah, a bunch of these are unofficial. In fact, this is official. This is the light novel cover. This is official. I think it looks official to me. This also looks official. This is definitely not official. This doesn't look official, and this is definitely not official, and this is also not official. So it's like split. But I went in there and I saw it was slop, so I didn't even bother to take a video of it because I didn't expect that I would find anything interesting. So I find the big anime store. I do find it eventually, the one I was looking for, and you're seeing videos from it right now. And it is also exactly what I expected anime stores to be. It is all slop. It is just a manga shop. They have a bunch of posters, like on the ceiling and the walls. There's a bunch of posters, and most of them are garbage. But they have some like Nekopada stuff, which is the only reason I went to that shop in the first place, is because I saw the picture on Google where I saw a Nekopada poster on the wall, and I was thinking, I played the Nekopada games. Yeah, I've played every single Nekopada game. I'd fucking buy a Nekopada poster if they're selling it. I'm buy it. Fuck it, I'll buy it. That's a. I don't really I don't think Nekopada's like that good. I think it's actually kind of bad. But like, fuck it, I'll buy it. Or like, even if I don't buy it, I thought maybe I'll get something. Maybe they have like other Moe stuff, but they didn't. It was all garbage. Um, in fact, they had a whole like just absolutely bizarrely, it's like one wall is all manga, Then they have the middle. They have like an aisle of like pokies and Japanese or pokis and snacks, and then like Prime for some reason. And then they have like um I don't know. They had like some plushies, and in the back they had a Gunpla section. And the Gunpla, I don't do Gunpla, but it looked pretty good. Maybe if you're into Gunpla, that would be interesting for you. Um, but then bizarrely they had a Harry Potter section. It wasn't very big, but there was a section of the store that was just Harry Potter merch. Everything else was anime. They just had one little Harry Potter section. What the fuck was that about? That was weird. So um I wander around looking for posters because I'm not going to buy anything. I'm not going to buy manga, and they have a few figures, but I'm not going to buy any of the figures because they're all from bad shows, and I've already spent a bunch of. I already have my figure for today. I'm not going to spend even more money on them. And I find they have the same thing that Forbidden Planet had. They have these like things that you leaf through, and then they have numbers and the posters underneath them. I'm leafing through. Garbage, 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 garbage. This time, even more stuff that isn't anime, like Avatar: The Last Airbender, Harry Potter, like a bunch of random shit like that. Um, until I find the same Sakura poster, the same one, and you're not gonna fucking believe it. Also sold out. Crazy. Also fucking sold out. At the same Sakura card captor Sakura poster from Forbidden Planet. Also sold out in the second shop that I find it. What the fuck is going on? Don't worry, this gets crazier. It actually does get even crazier than that. So I did find the only thing interesting I found was some like random magazines. You can see them in the footage. Um, some like random like old magazines, and I didn't want to buy them because I don't really have anywhere to put them. But I thought that was neat, and there's a chance that I had like Moe-tan on it, didn't it? Um, and I thought, you know what? I might have to come back and buy that magazine of Moe-tan. Maybe at some point I'll do that. I don't really know what I want. Like I don't know what that magazine is. I've never heard of it before. Um, so I didn't know what would be in it, so I didn't buy it. Um, yeah, I only know New Type and Megami. I don't know other magazines. Like I don't know what that one is. So I apologize for my failure of being an otaku there. Maybe I missed out on it. Maybe it's really rare. I don't know. I do like Moe-tan. Um, so I left that store. I just sort of kept wandering around the market for a bit because at this point I was getting kind of hungry. I was thinking maybe I'll wander around and get some food. So I keep wandering around, and you're not gonna fucking believe it. Just in the middle of nowhere, literally in the middle of the market, just actually not in the middle, like I was like right at the back, like at the furthest part of the market that still kind of resembles like some punk related stuff. Um, I find another poster thing, and I'm looking through it, and I see more anime posters, and you're not gonna fucking believe it. The very same Card Captor Sakura poster. And what's more, they actually had it. They actually had the Card Captor Sakura poster there. So I'm like, oh my god, finally, I can buy this fucking poster. I look around and I realize I'm not even in a shop right now. I'm just like, this is just sitting there, not in any particular shop. There's nothing next to it. Like, I look at the shops around them, and none of them are like anime related or comic book related or pop culture related. They all just sell clothes. And I'm like trying to figure out whose fucking thing is this. And I realized it was actually covered by like a cloth, and I had to lift it up. And I thought like I didn't think anything of it. I thought maybe it's like closed or something. But I'm holding this poster in my hand, and I'm like, let me buy this. But there's no one around. No one owns this weird little poster stand in the middle of a bunch of other like real shops. I'm trying to figure out what the fuck is going on here, and I think to myself, well, that maybe that cover was to indicate that it was closed. And then I think to myself, I mean, no one's around. I could literally just steal this and no one would know. Like, I could walk out with this and it would be so easy, and they probably wouldn't even notice. But I didn't, because I'm a good boy. I did not steal the Card Captor Sakura poster. I put it back and I walked away. But I could have, but I didn't. And then I went and bought some really overpriced chicken. That was really bad. Actually, the chicken itself was fine, but it was like chicken with rice and noodles. together, which is already weird. And the rice and noodles were really bad. Like the rice was like hard and stale, like it had been sitting out for ages, and the noodles were really, really soggy. Clearly, they'd been sitting out for ages. And there was also like sweet and sour chicken with it, and that was disgusting. So I didn't even eat all of it. I wasted so much. That was like 12 quid for a bowl. It was really fucking not good, not good. Shouldn't have done that. Should have just waited to have a. Should have just not done that. Should have done anything other than that. Um. Anyway, now I got to figure out what the fuck to do with all these saggities. um, I got I got to figure out what the fuck to do with all of this. And I guess thanks for watching.